How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We are back with another FPL live stream. And today we're going to be doing the double game week 29 preview show where we take a look at how our team did in double game week 28. We're going to take a look at our predictions and differential picks as we normally do. We're also going to take a look at how the team's looking for next week with the doubles again for game week 29 before the blank, and do a little bit of planning. We'll go over all the different things that happened this game week as well, because there was a lot of different scores that I've seen. I was on the fortunate side of getting a green arrow this week, and we'll touch on how we managed to do that going into this one. And we'll also take a look at, like I said, some planning and that sort of stuff, and we'll go through all the different things that could have potentially happened this week. I could have been on a much higher green arrow. I could have been on a big red arrow too. So, fingers crossed the green arrows keep coming. But I know there were some people that were quite unlucky. Some that were very fortunate, but we will see how that goes moving forward. And we still got some chips in the bank, so we're going to show you how we're going to use those as well. If you haven't done so, make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff on all the platforms. PilotFam222 everywhere in the About section or in the description below if you're watching this VOD over on YouTube. And before we get started, let's take a look at what Fantasy Football Scout has to offer, as they are our partners and have been for this FPL season. So, Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic tool, members area. It's everything, really. You're going to have a bunch of different pieces of data, as well as different tools and different functions that you can use in the members area to help elevate your FPL game, make better informed decisions. We usually use some of these tables on the deadline stream, so make sure to check us out for that on Saturday. And we'll be using some of those as well. But they have a bunch of different things over there. Go check it out. They have some free articles. They also have a members only video, which Mark Southerns, I believe he's actually part creator of Fantasy Football Scout. He's taking a bit of a back step and just does the video once a week and doesn't do everything like the Scoutcast, which is run by Joe now. Yeah, the site's fantastic, so make sure to go check it out. Link is in the About section if you're on Twitch, in the description over on YouTube, or in my bio if you're over on Twitter. Now, without further ado, let's see how the team did. Mana's in the chat. Feel like giving up this week. All went wrong. Very annoyed. Yeah, I've seen some bad scores this week, but I've seen some ridiculous scores too. I've seen as high as 150 something and down to as low as like 50 something with a minus 12. Like, I've seen some real bad scores this week too. 100% had Coutinho in mind, but Ramsey gave me value, but the plan was for the future. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Plan's always for the future for the wildcards. If your wildcard didn't do well this week, doesn't mean it's going to be bad. It doesn't mean it's going to be bad. You have to be able to see that over a few game weeks. That's kind of how it works. Me personally, if we're going to talk about the Coutinho Ramsey thing, because I had Coutinho in my team, I just thought that, the formation change to the two up front definitely helps Coutinho, because it means he has to get involved in the box as well. A little bit fortunate on his goal tonight, but I think that Coutinho he's basically, if Coutinho plays well, usually he gets a return and Villa win. Whereas that's not necessarily the case for Ramsey. Ramsey is a box-to-box midfielder. Coutinho is basically a 10/false 9/striker in a sense that kind of pairs up with Watkins and Ings. And often finds himself more central. So that's why I would have picked Coutinho personally. I think that Ramsey was always the cheap option. I think if you were going to go Ramsey, you needed to go Coutinho as well. Ramsey would have been like my third if you thought that Villa's attack was going to be good. Turns out Villa defense was great this week. They got 2 clean sheets, I believe. So, yeah, if you went with like a Matty Cash or something like that, you were looking great. But obviously a lot of managers went for Luca Digne, so is what it is on that one. But yeah, I think that Coutinho is always going to be the best asset for Villa. Hindsight's 20/20, obviously, but even still, I think that Coutinho was always going to be when you look at which player does the most of the play go through. Like, if that player plays well, that team wins. They win comfortably usually, and he's usually involved in FPL returns. So it's like Man United. If Bruno has a really good game, he usually gets a goal or assist, and United play somewhat good. There are obviously situations with Bruno where it's kind of weird with United. But like Chelsea, if Chelsea is their fully fit team and they play well, typically it's going to be the likes of Reece James, Mason Mount, somebody like that's going to do well. Same with Man City. Man City, it's going to be the likes of Riyad Mahrez or De Bruyne or Cancelo, somebody like that. Some teams you could funnel it more into others. So like Liverpool as an example, usually Trent and Salah basically are the ones you're looking at. Some teams a little more spread out. Man City is obviously that exception, I would say, or one of the big exception. West Ham play well. Bowen probably scored. Those sorts of things. But yeah, bit unlucky if you had Ramsey. It is what it is. But what I want to have a little bit of a rant because although I did get a green arrow and my safety score this week, which for those of you who don't know, your safety score is on live FPL. The score you need to match in order to not get a red arrow, basically. You just barely get a green or it's a gray arrow, and it's just like you just basically stay where you are. Mine was 102. Now, I got 111 points, but I took a -4, so I only got 107. So I only actually made up 5 points, all things considered. And I captained Reece James, I had Coutinho, I had Trent getting points for me, but those were the main bulk of my points. I didn't have a Saka, Jimenez, Harry Kane, any of the Villa defenders. I did get fortunate with the Ait-Nouri assist and clean sheet. I didn't have Lacazette. I didn't have Chris Wood. I didn't have Ryan Fraser. I had a lot of my points were in basically 2 players, pretty much. Or 3 players if you want to include Trent into that. But, yeah. It is what it is. A lot of the players that were in the single game weeks did really well. A lot of players in the double game weeks did really well as well. So you needed a bunch of them to do well this week. Rudiger captain and he's rested. Digne, COVID, and Trent first on bench. Yeah, see, stuff like that is annoying. Me personally, I think that it's always going to feel bad when you bench Trent. I thought this week in particular, you're going to see a lot of points on people's benches. Mind you, I saw one bench that I think had like 50 points on it. It had Fraser, Trent, Martinez, and somebody else on it. And it was just some ridiculous score. So, can't be as bad as that bench, to be honest. But yeah, the Digne COVID thing is kind of annoying. Rudiger captain. I mean, I'm annoyed at that because I had him. But yeah, it is unfortunate. Also, Rafinha, just talking about that. Rafinha is disappointing. Getting booked again. By the way, I have had so many yellow cards recently in my teams. Mendy got booked. Ait-Nouri got booked. Rafinha got booked. Watkins got booked twice. Like, give me a break, man. Give me a break. I get so many yellow cards. I think Ait-Nouri's had 4 yellow cards the whole season. I've had him for 3 of them. And he's gotten them in the last 4 game weeks, like, since I've had him. It's, like, actually ridiculous. And Watkins gets booked basically every game for me. So, he's had 3 yellow cards in back-to-back-to-back games, which is very annoying. But time to get rid of Rafinha? I would say so, probably. But yeah, even a score of 70, that seems like okay. If I would have captained Rafinha, I would have had 15 less points. I would have been on like 90ish, which isn't that far off. With the -4, I'd have been around like maybe 90, low 80s or whatever it was. My math's bad right now, but you get what I mean. It's not that far off. Just one, like a missed captaincy and no Coutinho is literally me down in the 60s or something like that. So it is what it is. But overall, we moved up around 1,000 places or so. Yeah, around 3,200, which is we want to get inside the top 1K. That's where we want to push. At a bare minimum, we want to be in the top 5K by the end of the season. I'm actually just going to take a look at the fantasy football scout. Az has overtaken me. He got 129 points this week. Oh, he played his free hit. Oh, yeah, Coutinho. Oh, he had Havertz. Okay, that makes sense. Right. That makes sense. If he had Captain Havertz, he could have been on an absolutely ballistic score. But he's played his free hit. He's played his triple captain. I'm not sure if he's played his... Has he played his other free hit? I don't think he has, I think that was his first free hit. Yeah, I think that was his first free hit. So he basically has all the chips that I do. I gotta beat him. I gotta beat everyone. I gotta come first. That's how it works. Am I first in my own league? Where's Flames Recruits? Flames Recruits. Flames Recruits. I'm second? Who's ahead of me? Myrain, so yeah. They played their bench boost. That's a good bench boost. Is there anyone that I would put on the bench, probably? No, because those are all double game week players. Yeah. Bench boost is pretty good. Was it 33 points? Mind you, with the -8, so 25. Even still, that's still really good. Really, really good. But yeah, you know, all in all, happy with the game because I got a green arrow. I've seen some hard scores. Reece James captain. I mean, I was over the moon with that. Trent getting an assist with no Salah return was great because Salah was over 100% ownership. Coutinho was just ridiculous this week. Aït-Nouri finally got me a return of some kind instead of just getting booked or getting subbed on and getting booked or something useless. Rudiger will be back in the team, so no reason to get rid of him there. But we do have some injuries potentially. We got Cancelo, who's ill at the moment, didn't train today. Reece James is probably going to be out for the game versus Newcastle, as well as their FA Cup fixture, and their Champions League fixture. And then it's the international break, so we might have Reece James back by then. So I may be able to ditch him for 1 week and then bring him back in. We will see. Jared Bowen looks like he's going to be out for this week, as well as their Europa League second leg tie versus Sevilla, although David Moyes seems to be like, he might be back. Smith Rowe, I think he was out. I think he also tested positive too. Not sure if he's going to be back in time. Maybe, maybe not. So again, we have some potential fires to put out. So we will have to cross that bridge when we get to the transfer section. Now, let's bring up the predictions that we had. I have to maneuver this. I gotta maneuver it like that. That's about right. Let me just move it up. Just gonna crop the bottom of this off really quickly, and then we're gonna make this nice and big so all the folks watching can see the predictions. There we go. I also have the other picks off to the side, the differential picks that we normally do as well. I have those off to the side as well, so we can go over those and we can kind of go game by game. If you're not familiar with how the system works, basically, if you get the exact score right, so how I predicted Leicester to beat Leeds 1-0, I would get 1 point. Or 3 points, sorry. If I would have predicted them to win 2-0, but still got the result correct, I get 1 point, and anything else other than that is no points. So, let's go through it and see how we did. Leicester versus Leeds. So, I predicted 3-1 Leicester. It ended up being 1-0 in favor of Leicester. So, we got the 1 point there. Bit surprised that this wasn't a higher scoring game. Jamie Vardy is re-injured again, which isn't ideal for Leicester. So him being on my potential free hit team just went down the drain. So I'm gonna have to rethink that one. Aston Villa, I predicted 1-1 with Southampton. They blew them out of the water. It was an absolute slaughter. Coutinho doing well in that one. Ings doing well in that one as well. Clean sheet for Villa. Villa looking good. So we got that one wrong. Chelsea Burnley. Chelsea convincing 4-0. No problems there. Reece James goal assist, clean sheet, picking up maximum bonus points. So we get the 1 point there. Newcastle versus Brighton, got this one exactly right. Fraser getting himself a goal and an assist. Very fortunate on his goal, I will say. Dunk getting the set piece goal. Cher, who was a differential pick this week, got himself a goal as well. So you'd be interested if you did have him. He would have been a little niche pick there. So we got that exact score right. So we get the 3 points on that one. Salah captain this week, a no-brainer? I think so, personally. Not really a place to overthink it. There's going to be a lot of managers using their triple captaincy chip this week if they wildcarded in 26. They're probably going to be using it this week on Salah. Because Brighton versus Arsenal, I think, is easier than Spurs versus Villa, which is the likely outcome for him to get a double in 36. Either that or it's going to be Spurs and Man United. So we'll have to see on that one. But, yeah, I think Brighton aren't in great form. I think Arsenal are definitely beatable. I mean, Watford scored 2 against them, and Liverpool tend to beat them pretty good when they play them. So yeah, I would say Salah captain, pretty straightforward. Wouldn't be surprised if he's over 200% ownership this week, which isn't ideal because your captain, getting points against you isn't great. But I think it's going to be not as... it'd probably be just a smidgen over 200, if anything, to be honest, with the triple captaincy chip. Not like it was last time where it was like 250%. Norwich Brentford. I predicted 1-1 in this one. Brentford doing well. Ivan Toney, 2 penalties, and to cap it off, a hat trick. So we got that one wrong there. Wolves Crystal Palace. Wolves could not score, and Crystal Palace could. And they won 2-0 quite convincingly. Crystal Palace were all over them for the majority of the game. So we got that one wrong too. Liverpool won by the same margin. I predicted 2-1. It was 1-0. Just the Sadio Mane goal from the Trent Alexander-Arnold assist was able to see them over the line. Very important in the title race, that one. So I got the 1 point there. Arsenal predicted 1-0 over Watford. Again, same margin. But a lot higher scoring. 3-2. Arsenal were, cruising comfortable. And then all of a sudden... things started to get a little bit ropey, but they managed to get it over the line in the end, so 1 point for us there. Man City, I predicted 1-0. It hurts me to say it. As you can see, I'm wearing a Man United top. You can see the logo here, the Red Devils logo. I predicted 1-0. United just kind of didn't try in the second half. They literally just down tools by the looks of it or something. I don't know what's going on. I might do a video of like what I would do if I was in charge type thing. A lot of United fan channels are doing the keep and sell thing. Maybe I'll do that at some point. We shall see. But I got the 1 point on the prediction though because I knew Man City would probably beat us. Spurs versus Everton. I predicted a fairly reasonable 2-1. Everton put a good showing versus City. Spurs absolutely lashed them 5-0. And it could have been worse for us Son and Kane owners. Kulusevski getting 2 assists in that one as well. So we just get the 1 point there. Newcastle, 2 wins in 2 in a double game week, both by the score of 2-1. They didn't need Joe Linton in this one. Bruno Guimaraes, I think is how you pronounce it, and Chris Wood on the score sheet for them. No Broja or Adams in the goal for Southampton, but we predicted 2-2, so we got that one wrong, actually. Wolves 4-0 over Watford, very convincing. So we get the 1 point for that because we predicted 1-0. Aston Villa versus Leeds. I predicted 3-1. Close. Leeds had some half chances here and there, but nothing really too concrete. Rafinha's main chance came in the first game of the double game week when they were playing Leicester and basically had it saved pretty much on the line by Schmeichel. So we get the 1 point there. And then Chelsea 3-0 over Norwich. Again, super close. It ended up being 3-1. Pukki with a penalty. Mendy, didn't know there was a penalty at the time. I just saw that they conceded. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. But had I known it was a penalty, I would have been like, oh, come on, like, save it so we can get the save, the penalty save. That would have been crazy, but not to be. So just the 1 point there. So we got 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 points in a double game week is pretty good. As for our differential picks, clean sheet for Chelsea. Yes. Martinez, yes. He got 2 clean sheets. Kyle Walker-Peters, 1.4%. Did he get anything? I don't believe so. No, he did not. So he was not good. So that one was wrong. Daniel Perez, he scored. I know that he scored for Wolves. He was a part of the 3rd goal. So yes, we got him there. And then Chris Wood. So we got 4 out of 5 on the differentials. That's the first time I think I've got that in a long time. So we did quite well. We did quite well on the differential pick front. So yeah, that's we did good. What did we get? Yeah, our last time we predicted was 9 points, so we're going up. We went 3, 4, 7, 9, but we are getting more fixtures to choose from. But yeah, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Game week 28. And we got 12, which is quite nice. So yeah, we're looking to improve. Obviously, when it comes to the blank game week, it's going to be a lower score because there's only 4 games. But what I might do is like say, oh, the points are tripled or something like that game week to kind of balance it out a little bit, to make things interesting. All right, let's bring up the old notepad here. Let me maneuver the notepad a little bit. And make it slightly bigger. There we go. So we have the whole side of the screen. But yeah, all things considered, Everton are in deep trouble. Leeds are in trouble. Newcastle are safe. Norwich and Watford are probably going down for sure. Villa look to be on the up. Spurs and United just don't know what you're going to get with them. And Arsenal look nailed on for top 4. But some of the variant swings, Rudiger versus James captain versus Havertz captain was crazy. Single game week players like Kane, Trent Alexander-Arnold doing ridiculously well. Villa defense was probably the surprise of the week, getting 2 clean sheets, and most of the defenders getting an attacking return apart from Digne, basically. So yeah, sometimes that's how it goes. These are the fixtures for this week. So, to start us off, again, another Saturday deadline. This is the last normal game week before there is a blank game week in Game Week 30, where there's only 4 fixtures. The times are slightly different because the UK wouldn't have gone over to the daylight saving time. And then the next game week after that is going to be on April 2nd because they have an international break for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they do. So yeah, and this is where FA Cup fixtures are going to be played around this as well. And as far as we know, there's no other fixtures being thrown into here or into here as of as we know it, basically. So Game Week 29. Let's go through our predictions quickly. So we got Brighton versus Liverpool. This should be straightforward. I don't think Brighton have a chance of scoring, to be honest. I think Liverpool smashed them, to be honest. I think Brighton are not playing very well. Brighton are a team notoriously for getting a good chance and then never putting it away. And I think Liverpool, if they get a goal early, it could be just game over. Yeah, I think it could just be game over. Bradford versus Burnley. I think this is a quite an interesting one. To be honest, I think it could be very, very interesting. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that both teams are looking to they're looking to get out of a situation where, hey, look, we could be relegated type of thing. Burnley, I believe, is still in the relegation zone. Just bringing up something else on my other monitor here. I have my predictions. I'm trying to remember if I actually put the same predictions for fantasyfootballcommunity.com, where we post our predictions as well. So yeah. I predicted 2-0. Sorry. I predicted 2-0. So yeah, I think that Liverpool are going to win that one comfortably. But getting back to the Brentford Burnley, I think that both teams they're in potential trouble. Burnley are picking up points here and there, but is it going to be enough? Brentford, their win over Norwich was massive, absolutely massive. They needed those 3 points, and if they could pick up 3 points over Burnley, I think they might just have enough to whereas if they scrape a point here and there, then they might keep themselves out of trouble. I think Brentford attacking wise look to be good, but I think Burnley could score versus them as well. So I think I'm just going to sit on the fence with this one. I'm going to go with a 1-1. I think Tony probably gets one, or maybe one of their center backs from a set piece, and then maybe like a Tarkowski or Weghorst goal for Burnley as well. Man United v Spurs. Now, the title of the stream is Win or Bust. Both of these teams need a win. If they win, they have potential, very slight potential, inroads, at least more in United's case, to get back into the top 4 race. I still don't think United are going to get there. I still think Arsenal are going to be in, they're going to be in the top 4. Almost certainly, assuming that they don't do anything absolutely ludicrous, and their players stay fit. Basically, if Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, Odegaard, Lacazette, like a front 5, with one of them being on the bench most games, if they're all fit because they have no European football, they're not in the FA Cup, they're not in the Carabao Cup. If they all stay fit on a week-to-week basis, they'll get top 4. Plain and simple. The only way United get top 4 is if they win the Champions League, and I don't think that's going to happen. So, yeah, United are going to have to do some miracle or hope that Arsenal collapse. Spurs, if they beat United, let me actually check their the table, actually. EPL table. So we can see the scenario for Spurs, because I know United's 1 point behind Arsenal, and Arsenal have 3 games in hand. However, those 3 games in hand are versus Chelsea, Liverpool, and the North London Derby, which is why Spurs have a slight advantage. So Spurs have 2 games in hand on United. So if they have to win both of those, they'd be on 51 points, which would put them 3 points ahead of Arsenal. Arsenal would have 3 games in hand, though, one of them being against Spurs. So if Spurs would have beat them in that, then Arsenal would have 2 games in hand, but they'd be 6 points behind. So Spurs have the ability to put it in their own hands if they beat United and they beat Arsenal. If United beat Spurs, it dampers them a little bit. I still think they're okay, though. They're on track still for Europa League football, and still could slip into the top 4. Arsenal, they could easily lose versus Spurs, Chelsea, and Liverpool. No question. I think Arsenal are worse than Chelsea. They're worse than Liverpool. And I think Spurs can beat them. Spurs are very much like United. All of us, United could just show up and just beat the team and just, absolutely destroy them. If their players, because the players are good enough. People aren't going to say that, who's going to say that Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Jadon Sancho, these sorts of players are bad players. Same as Spurs. Their front 3 is ridiculous. They can absolutely obliterate teams if you let them. But it's about, do those players show up? Who knows? Spurs have had a weird trend. They smashed Everton in the last game that they played, but the week before that, or the game before that, they lost to Burnley or something stupid like that. So, again, it is what it is. As for the relegation race, Brentford getting those 3 points separates them from Leeds by 4 points, which is good for them. Newcastle are in 14th place. They are same number of games, only 2 points behind Brighton. Brighton have lost their last 4 games in a row. If Newcastle were to win, one of their next couple of games, they could be looking to get. They'd be potentially close to knocking on the top half of the table. They'd only be 1 point behind Southampton. They have 1 game in hand. So if they win that game in hand on Southampton, they're only 1 point behind them. So Newcastle are shooting up the table, and it's the likes of Brentford, Leeds, Everton, Burnley that are all kind of scrounging around. Burnley still have 2 games in hand on the 2 down the bottom, which is why I think Watford and Norwich are just finished. They're just done. Also, 5 of Watford's points have come from Man United alone. So, yeah, not really too happy about that. Yeah, a bit of an interesting one on that. Anyway, let's get back to the predictions. So, right. So, Man United versus Spurs. I went with a 2-2. And I'm going to tell you why. The reason being is because I think both teams have the ability to score goals. And they can take their chances when they want to. Both defenses on each team are not very good. Romero on Spurs is prone to a mistake. Dyer is not very good in my opinion. I've never rated him as a central defender. I think that Doherty can be exploited in terms of his willingness to get forward, leaves him caught out sometimes. I think Reguilon is in a similar situation. And then Man United the same. Maguire is prone to a mistake. Varane is coming back off injury if he were to play. If Wan-Bissaka plays, he's not very good in possession. Luke Shaw hasn't been great. We don't know if he's going to be back. Alex Telles, United's fullbacks have... There was a thing I watched. I believe it was United Stand. They compared Wan-Bissaka and Dalot on per 90 stats, and Dalot's better than everything that Wan-Bissaka does. In every stat, basically, whether it be aerial duels, ground duels, defensive actions, pressures, crosses, successful shots, goal creating act, like all that sort of stuff. Dalot was just better in everything, and percentage-wise was higher. So even though he did more, his percentage was also higher and better than Wan-Bissaka. So I don't understand how Dalot just magically just disappeared out of the team. That's just a bit of a weird one for me, but I think it's going to be a 2-2. I think also United have a bit of a conundrum. They need to win this game, and they need to win versus Atletico Madrid. I think you can only play Ronaldo in one and Cavani in one. You can't play them in both because they're both coming off injuries, and you're going to need them. And I think if there's one game I'm going to play Ronaldo in, it's probably against Atletico Madrid because he could probably get a goal out of nothing. Versus them because he scores against them quite a lot. At least he did when he was in La Liga. So I've gone with the 2-2 here. Team selection is going to be everything in this one. I think Spurs, you could pretty much predict their team, barring maybe like one player. Might be different, but Kane, Son, Kulusevski, Bentancur, Højbjerg, Doherty, Romero, Dyer, probably Davies, Lloris. It's just the left wing back spot might be contentious, but it's probably going to be Reguilon anyway. So Spurs team you can predict. United's team, who knows? To be honest, because there's some players that don't deserve to play. There's some players that do. And there's some players that just look like they can't be bothered. And they just don't deserve to play either. And unfortunately, for those that are looking for the hopes of England going into the World Cup, most of the England players are not playing very well. Rashford hasn't played well for months. Maguire hasn't been good all season. Shaw's consistency has been all over the place this season. Attacking-wise has looked good at points. Defensively has been a liability in most cases. Wan-Bissaka, there's so many more... like, you could look... Like, every other team, I'm pretty sure, in the league is a better right-back than Wan-Bissaka for the most part, when you look at it. Like, when you deep it. Like, I'm just going to go through the teams here. So, Brighton, they play with a wing-back system. Slightly different, but Lamptey, better than Wan-Bissaka. Brentford, I think they have Rico Henry, maybe on par, I'm not too sure. Burnley, they have, who's playing right? Loughton, I'd say probably Loughton's probably had a better season than Wan-Bissaka, all things considered. Doherty's looked good recently, although, again, going with Spurs and they play a wing-back system. Newcastle had Trippier, he's better. Everton, Seamus Coleman, probably better than Wan-Bissaka, I would say. Wolves, they again play with the wingback system, so it is a bit weird. Leeds, I would probably say Wan-Bissaka is probably better than them because it's usually Ayling, but even Ayling's been okay. They just concede too many goals. Norwich, probably not. They've had some, problems there, even though they have Brandon Williams on loan, but he plays at left back sometimes. So it's a bit of a tricky one. Watford, probably no. Southampton, it doesn't matter if it's Livramento or Kyle Walker-Peters. They're better. West Ham, Soufal, is better. Matty Cash, definitely better. Arsenal at right back, they had Tomiyasu. Probably say on the whole he's been better when he's played. Leicester, defensively they've been a bit weird, to be honest. So I'll probably say maybe not. Crystal Palace have had... Who have they had at right back? Has it been Mitchell? I think it's been Mitchell. Or does Mitchell play left back? Either which way, let's compare to Mitchell. I think Mitchell's been better. Don't even need to talk about City. Liverpool has Trent. You know, there's not many. There's not many. Whereas at least below you can make a case for some. So, but yeah, enough rambling on. I'm gonna go with a 2-2 in that one. Moving on to the next game. So, this is a bit of a weird one. A lot of the games are on Sunday, which is weird. So it's gonna be like a goal rush type thing. Whether you're watching it on DAZN or whatever platform you're watching it on. They have a goal rush type system. Yeah, it's a bit weird. Bit weird. So the same time slots are on Saturday, but there's only one game each, which is, yeah, interesting. Chelsea v Newcastle. I think it's going to be pretty straightforward. I went with a 3-1. I think that Chelsea will get the result. I think Newcastle will still score, though. I think they're good enough for a goal. But I think Chelsea's quality will ultimately shine through. Now, if Newcastle win this game, I mean, who knows what can happen. Newcastle might end up past United. I don't even know. Everton v Wolves. This one, I just think Everton are bad. Wolves beat Watford 4-0. They could do the same to Everton, but I think Wolves they'll probably tone it back down on the goals and they'll go 1-0. Bruno Lage will be like, you guys scored way too many goals. We need those 4 goals for the next 8 weeks. So, yeah. Leeds versus Norwich. I think I predicted what did I predict on this one? 2-1 in favor of Leeds. Fairly straightforward. I think Leeds will concede, but I think Leeds are a better team than Norwich. And they need the 3 points desperately. If they lose to Norwich in this one, they are in big trouble. Bamford being back is a plus for them, so maybe that can help something there. Doesn't look like Calvin Phillips or Cooper are going to be back soon, so but having Bamford back probably helps them out quite a bit. Southampton v Watford. What did I go with for this one? Oh, same score. I went with a 2-1. I think Watford will probably score. I mean, they just conceded quite a few to Villa, so I think Watford will probably get one, but Southampton will get back to their winning ways, and they'll get the 3 points. I'm not going to predict Watford or Norwich to win another game this season, unless they're against each other, in which case I'll probably predict a draw anyway, unless something changes about them. West Ham v Aston Villa. I predicted a 1-1 in this one. I think Villa are good enough to get at least a point here. I think that since I put these predictions in yesterday, after watching West Ham play Sevilla today, and the way Villa played today as well, I just think that West Ham could be in trouble. West Ham might slip out of the European places altogether, which would not be ideal for them. Wolves could pass them. Spurs could pass them. You know, they could be in a bit of trouble in terms of, vying for those spots. So Villa, I think, will, if I had to change my prediction, I would predict probably 2-1 Villa after seeing the stuff today. But I made the predictions yesterday, so I'm going to stick to them. Moving on to Arsenal versus Leicester. So a lot of the people on the prediction site, they went for an Arsenal win. I'm not convinced, I don't think Arsenal, if memory serves me correctly, are very good versus Leicester. Let me check. Arsenal v Leicester history. From what I remember, I don't remember Arsenal winning very many games versus Leicester. Let's see. So recently in the Premier League. Okay, so the last 2 games they played, Arsenal won. Then they lost in the Premier League. They won in the League Cup. Then they drew, lost, win, loss. So over the last, 4 years, they've won 3, lost 4, and drawn 1. So Leicester's had the slight advantage. But they did go on a decent run in like the mid 2010, so from 2014 to 2017. But they will be without Jamie Vardy, which could be a big miss. I think Leicester probably make an upset here. I don't know why. I just have a hunch here, and I just think that Leicester get something out of this one. I'm going to go with Arsenal slipping up. and losing 2-1. And I think, because I think Arsenal are one bad game away from potentially having a kind of a meltdown. Arteta's getting everything right, everything's rosy and all that sort of stuff. But if they have one key injury to one of their players, let's say, knock on wood, I don't want any player to get injured, but let's say it was a key player like Saka or Martinelli or somebody like that, they could be in trouble. They could be in real trouble. And I think versus Leicester, they're going to give Arsenal the ball, which is going to probably favor Leicester, I would think. Leicester's defense needs to be solid. They don't have Vardy on the break, but they still have Daka and Iheanacho. And they can hurt teams on the break. They definitely can. So I think it's going to be a close one. I would say probably the most likely outcome is 2-1 either way. I don't think Arsenal's going to blast Leicester or vice versa. But I just have a sneaky suspicion about Leicester. I think everyone's going to be jumping on Arsenal players this week. And I think potentially they could lose both games. So, and then they play, who is it? Villa in Game Week 30? Yeah, and that's not going to be easy either, the way Villa's playing. So, yeah. Could be a bit of a sticky one for them. Monday night fixture. Sorry, I'm going to say Wednesday night. Getting ahead of myself. Crystal Palace versus Man City. I've gone with a 3-1 in favor of Manchester City. I think Palace are good enough to score. With Diaz out, that kind of hurts them a little bit. He's going to be out for, I think it was 6 weeks. But I think City will win the game. City will know the result of Liverpool's game, and they'll want to win the game. Brighton v Spurs. I think that Spurs will probably win this one. I think these sorts of teams, Spurs have slight... can't type today. Spurs have slight issues dealing with them. But if it goes off the pattern of Spurs have done recently, they should lose to Man United, and then they're going to blast Brighton. So... we'll see. But I've gone with the Spurs win. I've gone with 2-1. I just think the Spurs defense is always maybe able to be concede a goal. They didn't concede versus Everton because Everton were just dreadful. And they just can't score either. So, yeah. Arsenal v Liverpool. Now, a lot of the predictions this week have gone for like close games, like a 2-1 or a 1-1 draw. I've gone with just a straightforward Liverpool are arguably the best team in Europe right now. Their attack is devastating. They don't let you breathe. If you don't know how to press well, they're going to just absolutely shred you to bits. And since Arsenal's going to be at home, Liverpool might sit in a little bit and try to bait them in and hit them on the break. And Arsenal defending going backwards isn't ideal. I don't think Ben White and Gabriel... as well as Tomiyasu and Tierney are going to be able to handle the likes of Mo Salah, Sadio Mane. Diaz is going to absolutely shred them if he plays. He is so good. And I think that's going to be one-sided. I think 3-0. I think Arsenal could get destroyed, personally, in this one. I just think Liverpool are playing that well. And then lastly, this would have seemed ludicrous a few weeks ago. Lampard coming in, everything looking great, but I've gone with Newcastle to beat Everton. Newcastle going to beat Everton, I think, and I've gone with a 2-1. I think Everton will probably get one just off of sheer just coincidence, or that they haven't scored in a while, so they might just score. And Newcastle defense isn't all that great, although it has improved with Dan Burn and Matt Targett in the team. One's good with Trippier as well, although he's injured now. Joe Litton's been fantastic in central midfield. Bruno stepped in, got himself a goal, first start, no problem. So yeah, I think that I still think Newcastle are going to win though, and it's going to be rough for Everton, because if they go down, that's the first time they've ever gone down in the club's history, which would be a weird thing to see Everton down in the Championship. And I don't know if they have the fight in them to come back up. Contrary, to a lot of what the Chelsea fans think, but I don't think that Frank Lampard's a very good manager, to be honest. So we'll see if he's up for the fight. Clean sheet for this week. So this one is pretty straightforward in my opinion. I think that you probably have to go for just kind of the pretty much mostly guaranteed, which is going to be Liverpool. I think the Liverpool will keep a clean sheet either versus Arsenal or Brighton. More likely to be Brighton, obviously, but I think they'll keep a clean sheet in one of those. I think it's pretty nailed on for that. Even Chelsea versus Newcastle, you would think, oh, maybe clean sheet there. Leeds versus Norwich, maybe clean sheet there. Probably not. Wolves versus Everton might be just as good as well, to be honest. Goalkeeper this week. If we take a look at some of the goalkeepers, how highly owned is Dubravka? Dubravka's 2.7%. I think he could be good this week. We picked Martinez last week, so I'm going to pick Dubravka this week. He has a double game week this week off the back of a double-double. And 2.7% owned. So that's what we're going to go with in goal. In defense, let's see. Robertson. Let me see if I can get away with a cheeky differential. Not really. Van Dijk. Are you more owned than Robertson? Yes, you are. Who else has a double this week that could be good? Let's see. I don't think anything from Arsenal. I think just outside of Liverpool, like, there's not really anything to go off of. Maybe we'll just go with Doherty just because of the fact that he is going to be low owned because he's only recently come onto the scene. But we'll go with Matt Doherty, 1.8% owned. Had an absolute blinder last week. 14 points, 18 points versus Leeds. I mean, he did play two very bad teams, but yeah, some pretty crazy returns from Doherty at 4.7 million. In midfield, who are we going to go with? I think it's pretty straightforward, to be honest. I think Diaz could have an absolute screamer versus Arsenal. I think he is unlucky not to have more returns. He's only got just the one goal, but he's played well in all of them. In every game that he's played so far, he is so good. He tries no-look shots and no-look passes and makes them look effortless. I think he could be absolutely lethal this week. And then in the forward line, let's see what we got here. I'm half tempted to just go Chris Wood again, to be honest, but don't really like to do back-to-back. Maybe let's go for a cheeky single game week player. Can we get a cheeky single game week player? Probably not, to be honest. Nothing really stands out to me, to be honest. Don't want to go to Everton. Already did Chris Wood from Newcastle. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. I mean, the obvious forward this game week is going to be Harry Kane because it just makes the most sense. But he's not a differential pick by any stretch of the imagination. Let me go for... So Daka's fit. What about Iheanacho? What's the minutes of these two been like? I just think that... So Iheanacho, very, very scarce minutes off the bench. What about Daka? So Daka's played most... So Daka's the one who starts, basically. I'm going to go with Daka, to be honest. 1.6% owned. He plays Arsenal. Yeah, they've been playing, well, but they haven't played any decent teams recently. What did they do when they played each other? Well, they lost 2-0 to Arsenal, but yeah, unfortunate. But maybe it's redemption time. So yeah, we'll go to a cheeky little single game week differential pick with Pats and Daka. So yeah, that's going to do it for the clean sheet and differential picks. I'm going to post those over on Twitter later. So yeah, let's move over to our current team. So let me hide Get rid of that. Okay, so now we got the team up on the screen. So this is how the team is looking basically. So we got Ramsdale in goal. He's got the double game week this week, so it makes sense to play him over Mendy. We currently have, Reece James, who has a flag on him because he could be injured for the next couple of weeks, but that would include the international break, which would give him around a month to recover, which he could be back. Antonio Rudiger, who should come back into the team versus Newcastle. Cancelo, who's currently ill but has till Monday, so he has a little bit of a time to get back into the team. Trent Alexander-Arnold versus Brighton and Arsenal. Smith Rowe, who's currently flagged. I would like for him to play because I think he starts one benched in the other. Rafinha versus Norwich, I think you hold him for that. I just think you do. Salah versus Brighton and Arsenal. Captaincy is going to be on him. Bowen. Excuse me. Maybe I need some water. Bowen, who might not be back for the second leg of the Sevilla game, which is next week. So might have to get rid of him, I think. Yeah, and then he plays Spurs, and maybe he can come back later on versus Everton, Brentford, and Burnley. But the weird thing is that West Ham, they play bad versus like the really bad teams, which is kind of weird. So, yeah, maybe it's time to get rid of Bowen. Coutinho, he's not going anywhere. He's been magic. So we're going to keep him. West Ham didn't look great versus Sevilla, by the way. Arsenal, I think Coutinho has an affinity against, obviously, Arsenal. He'll be at home as well. So he'll be in my team, and most certainly for my free hit team in 30, because that's what I'll be free hitting. 31 versus Wolves, they can do well there. Spurs are definitely gettable. Liverpool, he's going to want to prove something versus them. And then he has some good fixtures till the end of the season. Man City on the last game week of the season isn't great, but we might have something different there. And then on the bench, we got the Weghorst up front versus Brentford, because I think he's the best out of the remaining options. We got Mendy, Dennis, Watkins, and Aït-Nouri on the bench. But yes, Mono, I would hold Rafinha for the Norwich game. So, if we look at the transfer planner, I'm just going to set up the team how we have it now. So, it looks something like these. So, Bowen comes in for Aït-Nouri. So, that's how the team looks currently. What I was thinking of doing this week is that if Jared Bowen is out, we would get rid of him and we would bring in an Arsenal midfielder, even though I don't want to, but I think I have to. Either an Arsenal midfielder or Kulusevski. They're around the like similar-ish price. Let's say I just bring in Saka. Fine. The only problem with that is that I'm getting rid of a blank game week player for another blank game week player. So if I wanted to add numbers going into game week 30 and not use the free hit chip, even though I'm going to because I don't have any Spurs players. The only one I could get realistically would be Kulusevski. That would be the transfer I would go for. Reece James isn't going to play. Cancelo might not play, so I think I probably have to take a hit to deal with that. Reece James could come out, and we would bring in Robertson, and that would give us 0.6 million, as you can see there, left in the bank. Robertson wouldn't be our captain, though. We'll just put a vice captain on. Doesn't really matter. That's how we'd run the team out. If Cancelo didn't play, we wouldn't mind Dennis versus Southampton. We wouldn't mind Watkins potentially coming on. But yeah, apart from that, we're looking okay. Coutinho was somebody that we could potentially move out, but now that he's been playing well, we definitely don't want to do that. Kulusevski would be a good move from Rafinha, but I think Rafinha versus Norwich, you got to keep him. I just think you do, to be honest. If it's your free transfer and you have nothing else to do, then yeah, sure. If you have Kane or Son, then yeah, you're probably fine too. but you can add Kulusevski as well. But I think Norwich is a good fixture for Rafinha. If he doesn't do anything there, then obviously, we can look to potentially move on. But he still has decent fixtures. Wolves, Southampton, Watford. Those aren't terrible fixtures for him. Although Leeds just don't look great at the moment. The other thing that I was also thinking about doing would be, so Smith Rowe would be in, Weghorst would be in, Bowen would be in, Ramsdale would be in. If Coutinho hadn't have been playing well, so let's say, who would I have taken out? I would have taken out Aitner. So if Coutinho hadn't been playing well, even though he is, we could have gone something like, we could have brought in Son. We would have still had 2 million left over. We could have then downgraded the likes of Reece James. And then we'd have to downgrade somebody else. So we would downgrade Bowen as well. Bowen would go to... where is Martinelli? There he is. Martinelli would come in. And Reece James could be downgraded to Doherty. That would be for a -8. That's something we could also do as well. If we really wanted to go that route. I just think personally Kulusevski and Kane are the 2 best Spurs options this week. I would say you're more likely to get returns in the Brighton game than you are in the United game, but who am I to know? So, me being a United fan, a little bit partial. So I just hope that United do well versus Spurs and keep them to knout, basically. That's kind of the plan. I didn't want to take a hit this week. Another alternative that I could do is, again, Ramsdale's in goal, Smith Rowe's in for Watkins. Bowen is playing instead of Dennis, or Weghorst rather. Bowen's playing instead of Aitner, and this would be the team here. We would play Watkins instead of Reece James versus West Ham, because West Ham didn't look good. And if Bowen was injured, so Bowen was just injured, and we just wanted to hang on to Reece James, we could get rid of Bowen and go... Jota would be a step too far, but we could go for... we can go for our differential pick and go Luis Diaz, and we would have triple Liverpool. We wouldn't have the players that could burn us this week would easily just be the Spurs assets, and Saka mainly. Everything else we'd be probably okay with. Like I said, I think Smith Rowe probably starts one game, or at least gets minutes in both, and he's prone to scoring off the bench too. So we would put Dennis in front of Aitner, obviously. If Smith Rowe happened he wasn't fit for either, we could put Dennis in front of Smith Rowe. But we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 double game weekers. I don't think a crazy amount of double game weekers is realistic this week. I think a lot of managers are going to have couple Spurs, couple Liverpool, probably 6 to 7. So me having 5 being the 3 Liverpool, thinking they're the strongest team. Ramsdale's probably going to be the double game weeker that every Arsenal owner has. But I think I have some good single game weekers in there. I think Weghorst is good. Obviously, we wouldn't have the captaincy on Watkins. Let me change that before everyone goes crazy. Yeah, I think we're perfectly fine. We then free hit, we come back, and then we have triple Chelsea on the other side because Reece James should be back by then. So we'd have Mendy in goal. Like I said, James would come back in. Smith Rowe on a single game week, we wouldn't want to play him in there. Weghorst versus City isn't ideal, so maybe we look to swap him out there somehow. Or if we get the inkling that Smith Rowe is going to play, then we play him with Weghorst, and then we're fine. Or we look to move on somebody else. I don't know. Maybe Weghorst down to I don't know. Or who knows? He might have a double game week that week, so we don't know. So, but yeah, we definitely have some good stuff on the other side. Mono's got a team with Dubravka, Trent, White, Rudiger, Salah, Son, Willock, Rafinha, Lacazette, Jimenez, Broya, Sa, Digne, Cody, and Ramsey. So you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 double game weekers. Yeah, so you'd only be one ahead of me. But yeah, I think I just. Oh no, sorry. You'd have a 7 because with Willock. So you'd have Dubravka, Trent, White, Salah, Son, Willock, Lacazette. So you can make it 8 if you got rid of Rafinha. You could make it 8 if you wanted to get rid of Rafinha. Broya plays Watford at home. Yeah. I mean, you already have Son. Yeah, you could do Rafinha to Kulusevski. I don't really like it too much to be. I mean, it could work out, but I'm not too big of a fan just because Norwich is Norwich. They're not great. And Kulusevski, they could play Man United. Man United could actually turn up and beat them, and then they could struggle versus Brighton. That is a real possibility. Who was it? I think it was it James from Planet FPL? I can't remember. It was basically a Node Spurs fan, and they were like, "Ready? Are you ready to be disappointed?" Going into this week. So, yeah, it is what it is. Also, with this Diaz, I can ditch him for the likes of Foden, for the Man City fixtures as well, which are great from 31 onwards, apart from playing Liverpool. So yeah. So yeah, that's how the team currently stands as of now. Yeah, let me know what you think. Post your teams in the comments on the VOD and all that sort of stuff. We will be back. Oh, you can do Ramsey to Saka? Oh, I would do that then, maybe. How many game weekers would you have? Hold on, let me see how many you would have in 30. So in 30 you would have, excuse me. So you'd have a goalkeeper in Saw. You would have Ben White, Cody, Digne, Saka, Son, Rafinha, Lacazette, Jimenez. Yeah, so you would have 9 even if you did that. Yeah, I think that's fine. Ramsey to Saka is probably fine. Yeah. But you do have to remember that further down the line, you have to know that you're going to probably need to make 2 transfers to basically get any money anywhere. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Ramsey to Saka or Kulusevski, and then bench probably Broya. Yeah. Broya hasn't got anything in the last couple of weeks. But, yeah. Also, not sure when those drop frames happen, but apologies. Not sure what's going on with the internet. Hopefully it didn't affect too much. Maybe it's just recently. I don't know. But yeah, that's going to do it. Let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout one more time before we sign off. Yeah, forwards are hit and miss, unfortunately. But yeah, if you haven't looked at Fantasy Football Scout, where have you been? It's fantastic. I'm actually going to go and watch the members only video in a little bit because Mark Southerns has his team. I'm going to be looking at that. He does it with Andy or FPL mode. So yeah, I'm going to go check that out, and we're going to get some tables ready and stuff for the deadline stream. So make sure to come join us for that. That's going to be on Saturday, 1 hour before the FPL deadline. So yeah, make sure to come check us out for that one. But yeah. It's gonna be great. Make sure to check out the members area and the articles and all that sort of stuff. It's just good reading. It's gonna help improve your FPL game, so I think it's quite worth it. Yeah, let's move over to the big screen. So yeah, win or bust. Will Man United be able to get their victory over the line versus Spurs and keep their top 4 hopes alive? Or will Spurs push them aside and march towards their North London rivals? We will see. We will see. So thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. Make sure to turn on the notification bells on all the platforms. PilotFlame226 on all platforms. Thank you all for watching. And until the next one, take care.